The moment you said sorry for wanting something, you lost. Not in a fight, not in an argument. You lost something you can never fully get back, their respect. Because here is the brutal truth, most men are never told. Every time you over-explain your no, every time you apologize for a boundary you had every right to set, every time you negotiate with someone who should have never questioned you in the first place, you are handing them a blueprint. A blueprint that says, push harder next time. And they will. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you is not a mindset hack. It's not a script or a template. It's a fundamental shift in how power actually works between people. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Let me paint you a picture. A man is asked to do something he doesn't want to do. A favor he's already done too many times. A request that crosses a line he's set before. And what does he do? He hesitates. He shifts in his seat. He starts a sentence with, well, the thing is. He explains. He softens. He apologizes. And the entire time, the person asking is watching him, reading him. And what they see is not a man who has limits. They see a man who has doubts about his own limits. That is the open wound. You have been trained, conditioned, to believe that a firm no is aggressive. That saying no without explanation is cold. That boundaries without apology are selfish. Society handed you that belief when you were young enough to accept anything, and you've been carrying it ever since. But think about the men you genuinely respect. The ones who command a room without raising their voice. The ones whose time feels valuable. The ones people don't dare test. Did they earn that by apologizing for what they stood for? Or did they earn it by simply standing? Here is something the psychology of influence makes clear, and manipulators understand this better than most honest men. Explanation is an invitation to negotiate. The second you give a reason, you give them a target, and now, instead of accepting your no, they attack your reason. They poke holes, they reframe, they offer counter-arguments, and you, because you open the door, feel obligated to defend yourself. That's not a conversation. That's a trap you built yourself. Watch what happens when you stop explaining. I can't make it. Full stop. No reason, no excuse, no apology. Just a clean, calm, immovable wall. The silence that follows is not awkward. That silence is power. Because now they are in your reality, and your reality has rules. The man who needs no one to understand his no is the man no one forgets. There is a psychological principle at work here that most men have been conditioned to fight against. Authority is not loud. Authority is still. The calm certainty of a man who does not need your approval. That stillness reads as dominance at a neurological level. It is not perceived as rudeness. It is perceived as status. And people respond to status. Always. Here's what no one tells you about the moment you stop negotiating your own worth. The relationship changes, permanently. Because you have just demonstrated something they did not expect. You have shown them that your no does not need their agreement to survive. That is terrifying for someone who is used to bending you. And it is magnetic to someone who has been waiting to see if you are who you appear to be. The friend group that used to pile responsibilities on you quietly stops, not because you had a confrontation, because you stopped volunteering for the role of the man who always says yes. The colleague who constantly pushed your limits suddenly treats your time differently, not because you complained, because your silence became a wall they couldn't find a gate in. The relationship where you were always accommodating slowly recalibrates, because when you move, something moves with you. Power seeks equilibrium, and when you reclaim yours, others adjust. This is not manipulation. This is not aggression. This is the quiet revolution that happens when a man decides he no longer needs to earn his own permission. You do not announce this. You do not post about it. You do not explain it. You just stop asking for it. So, how does a powerful man actually say no? Let me show you. First, he doesn't say it loudly. He says it calmly. There is no heat behind his words, no defensiveness, no apology. The emotional temperature of a no should be the same as the emotional temperature of a yes, flat, even, final. Second, he does not follow it with a but. No, but maybe is not a no. It is a negotiation wearing a costume. If you mean no, say no. Third, he doesn't fill the silence. After the no, he goes quiet. This is where most men break. The silence gets uncomfortable, and they rush to fill it with justification. Don't. Let the silence do its work. Silence is the enforcer of the boundary. Fourth, he doesn't revisit it. The man who says no once and then says yes after pressure taught them the exact price of his boundary. He made it negotiable. Never revisit a boundary under pressure. Only revisit it on your own terms, on your own timeline. Fifth, and this is the move that separates the men who are respected from the men who are merely feared. He offers nothing. No replacement. No explanation. No softer version. Just the clean, honest truth of what his answer is. Practice this phrase. That doesn't work for me. 5 words, no blame, no apology, no opening, just a closed door with a polite sign on it. The man who can deliver that, and then hold eye contact in the silence that follows, is a man whose no means something. I want you to understand something deeper here. This is not about learning a technique. Techniques can be copied. This is about becoming someone whose entire presence communicates. I know who I am, and I know what I stand for. Because the truth is, people don't test your boundaries because they are disrespectful. They test your boundaries because you have shown them, in small, consistent ways, that the boundaries are negotiable. And the fix is not to get harder. It is not to get colder. It is to get clearer. Clarity is the most powerful form of masculine communication that exists. When a man is clear about what he will do, what he won't do, what he values, what he won't tolerate, he removes ambiguity from the equation. And ambiguity is where manipulation lives. You want to stop being tested? Stop being unclear. You want to stop being taken advantage of? Stop sending mixed signals, a hard no one day and a reluctant yes the next. The man who becomes unreadable in his limits becomes unshakable in his life. That is the identity shift. Not louder, not harder, just cleaner, clearer, more himself than he has ever been willing to be. I will leave you with this. The most powerful thing a man can do in a world that rewards endless availability and apologetic compliance is simply decide. Decide what he is for. Decide what he is not for. And then stop redeciding every time someone is inconvenienced by his answer. A man with no negotiable limits is a man with no exploitable weakness. The world will test you once, then it will test you again. Then it will test you a third time with more pressure, more guilt, more emotional leverage. And the only response that ends the game is the one that was never a game to begin with. Say no like it's the only language you speak. Because for a man who knows himself, it is.